Hello, my name's Mary, and I'm coming to you from the children's room of the Portland Public Library. And today, we're going to talk about math. Actually, what we're going to talk about are Fibonacci numbers found in nature. The book we're going to read is Growing Patterns, Fibonacci Numbers in Nature. It was written by Sarah C. Campbell. And the photographs are by Sarah C. Campbell and Richard P. Campbell. The book was published by Boyd's Mills Press in 2010. A seed grows into a plant. When it's all grown up, it might be a tuft of grass, a daisy, or a tree. The seed has built-in instructions for how the seed will grow. What shape will it be? What size? What color? This peace lily has white flowers, always with one petal. The number of petals in a flower and the shapes and patterns they make come from two things: the plant's instructions and its growing conditions. This is a crown of thorns. Count the petals. 1, 2. This is a spiderwort. Count the petals. 1, 2, 3. This is a flowering quince. Count the petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a cosmos. Count the petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The numbers of petals on these flowers: 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8. 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. Have a special relationship to one another and to nature. Just like this story, which started with one seed and a flower with one petal. This special pattern begins with 1 and 1. To get the next number, you add 1 plus 1 equals 2. This is the rule for these special numbers. In order to get the next number, you add the two numbers before it. So the number after 2 is 1 plus 1 is 2, and 1 plus 2 is 3. The next number is 2 plus 3 equals 5. And the next number is 3 plus 5 equals 8. People first wrote about these special numbers in ancient India, but today the numbers are named after an Italian mathematician. He was called Fibonacci. Over the years, people have noticed that Fibonacci numbers are everywhere in nature. Here are more flowers with numbers of petals that equal Fibonacci numbers. The numbers go higher and higher, always following the same rule. The number after 8 is 5 plus 8 equals 13. 8 plus 13 equals 21. 13 plus 21 equals 34. So the first 12 numbers in the Fibonacci sequence are 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 5, 89, and 144. So far, each of the flowers in these pictures has had one Fibonacci number, the number of petals. In pine cones, sunflowers, and pineapples, there are even more Fibonacci numbers. The bracts growing on the bottom of a pine cone look like petals, but each has a sharp tip. Ouch! They grow out from the stem in spirals. All the pictures on these 2 pages show the same pine cone. On the next page, some of the spirals were printed darker to help you see the pattern. If you look closely, you can see that there are darker patterns. Count the spirals. Counting the spirals that go one way in the photo above, this pine cone has 8. Counting the spirals that go the other way in the photo on the left, it has 13. These are both Fibonacci numbers. Look at the disc flowers in the center of this sunflower. They grow in spirals too. Can you count the spirals? Like the pine cone, the sunflower makes 2 kinds of spirals. One curves in one direction, the other goes in the opposite direction. When Fibonacci numbers show up in spirals, the numbers are always next to each other in the pattern. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, 144. The sections on the outside of a pineapple grow in spirals. You would be able to count the spirals going in 3 directions if you could turn the pineapple as you counted. On the next page, in the photo on the bottom right, you would find 5 spirals. At the top right, 8. In the photo on the left, 13. Fibonacci. Look at a real pineapple to count all of the spirals. The third way we see Fibonacci, I'll show you this photo, see Fibonacci numbers in nature is in a different kind of spiral. This time, it's on an animal. This spiral starts at the beginning of the Fibonacci sequence and grows the same way the Fibonacci numbers grow. Look at the drawing on the next page. The spiral starts in a corner of the red square, curves through the orange square, the yellow square, the green square, the blue square, and the purple square. You can see that spiral. The spiral is like the one that's formed by a nautilus as it grows. The nautilus is a sea animal, and in its shell is similar to a snail's. Just like plants, animals have built-in instructions that determine how they grow. The photograph in the next page shows the inside of an empty nautilus. Do you see the spiral? Not all numbers in nature are Fibonacci numbers. A dogwood has 4 petals, and an amaryllis has 6. The garden snail and the fiddlehead on the fern are spirals, but they don't have the same shape as the nautilus. The next time you are outside, take a close look at the plants and animals. See if you can find Fibonacci numbers, spirals, or some other pattern. They are growing all around. Now a little bit more about Fibonacci numbers. Fibonacci, the man, the mathematician who first wrote about Fibonacci numbers, was an Italian named Leonardo. He lived in Pisa, so his name was Leonardo of Pisa. When he completed his most important book, Liber Abaci, in 1202, he signed his name Fibonacci, which can be translated as son of Bonaccio. Fibonacci is how he is most commonly known. Before Fibonacci, the interesting properties of this special set of numbers, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and so on, were known to scholars in India before Fibonacci's time. These scholars included Pingala, Virhanka, Gopala, and Hemakandra. The rabbit problem. Fibonacci first described his famous number sequence as a solution to the math problem about how rabbit families grow each time another rabbit in the family has babies. However, the number of babies that real rabbits have has nothing to do with the Fibonacci pattern. Why Fibonacci numbers? Scientists who study plants have found that Fibonacci numbers show up often in plants that have multiple parts, such as leaves, petals, or seeds, arranged around a single stem. A study found that 2 successive Fibonacci numbers appeared in more than 90% of such plants. The frequent appearance of Fibonacci numbers in nature has been a puzzle for a long time. Recently, scientists and mathematicians have been able to reproduce the patterns in laboratory studies and have offered new ideas about why the numbers arise. The golden ratio. If you divide any number, except for the first few, from the Fibonacci sequence by the number immediately before it, for example, 21 divided by 13, or 55 divided by 34, you get a number that is close to the golden ratio, which is 1.61803. The golden ratio goes back even further in history than Fibonacci numbers. It was used in ancient buildings and written about in the earliest known books about geometry and math. The pages you are reading are 12 inches wide, and 7.4 inches tall, which makes them close to the golden rectangle. 12 divided by 7.5 equals 1.62. If they were 7.41643 inches tall, they would be perfect golden rectangles. Lucas numbers. Another sequence of numbers which operates just like Fibonacci numbers also appears in nature. The only difference is the starting numbers, named after the French mathematician Édouard Lucas. This sequence starts with 2 and 1. Then it follows this rule. To get each successive number, you add the 2 before it. So 2, 1, 3, 4, 7, 11, 18, 29, 47, and so on. The golden spiral. This diagram, right here, shows a true golden spiral. It's similar to, but not exactly like the diagram that you saw before going through all the colored blocks, which comes from the Fibonacci pattern. A true golden spiral becomes wider as it grows by a factor of the golden ratio, or 1.61803 in the course of each quarter turn. So this has been growing patterns, Fibonacci numbers in nature. It was written by Sarah C. Campbell, and the photographs are by Sarah C. Campbell and Richard P. Campbell. This book was published by Boyd's Mills Press in 2010. And I hope that you've enjoyed this and that you're going to go out and look at nature and see if you find patterns, and if any of those patterns or spirals have Fibonacci numbers. So I'm Mary, and I'm coming to you from the Portland Public Library in Portland, Maine. And until next time, bye-bye.